Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andre, and this video I'm going to be showing some of my tips, tricks, and my approach when it comes to creating drums and different beats. I will be mainly using a pack made by Wave Alchemy. It's called Drum Evolution for Live. I'll share the link in the description just so you can get an idea of what it is. I'm not sponsored or affiliated by them in any way or form. I just really enjoy their products, and this is kind of my way of giving back and promoting it, just because I want to support them. I think they're making really cool and interesting instruments, and I really like their drums. So yeah, it's a built-in pack for Ableton Live. You can pretty much drag and drop different drum sounds, and it comes with multiple samples in one pack. You can add layers. There's like 28,000 different samples that come with it. And yeah, I'll be basically showing what you can do with it, some interesting ideas, how to create cool patterns and non-repetitive patterns, and going over the different things you can do. And I will also show you how you can create your own multi-sample drum rack. So it's easy to sample different drum samples and kind of like create your own drum rack. So without further ado, let's get started. So here I have just Ableton open, nothing loaded yet. So first I will show you how you can create your own multi-sample drum rack. It's very easy. All you have to do is load a drum rack. And then in each cell, what you want to have is a sampler. So just drag the sampler in here. Now, once you have the sampler open, in the zone section, you can drag and drop multiple different samples. So for example, let's just grab some kicks. So I have a bunch of different kicks here. So I can just take all of them, drag and drop, and then over here you click on the selector button, and you can right click and click on distribute ranges equally, which means based on how many samples you have, it will automatically distribute all the ranges as equally as possible. Some of them are a little longer, some of them shorter, but you can have up to 127 samples here. So now, if you go and open the macros, you can map the selector to one of the macros. So now it's mapped to this one, and as I move it, it will basically change which sample is being played. So you can map this to like a MIDI controller, or you can just use it manually with your mouse. For the demo purpose, I'll just map it to my Akai MPK Mini right here. So now when I play this and move this knob, the sample changes. Pretty cool. You can easily repeat the process for different cells and different samples. And this will allow you to like build your own drum racks and easily create very interesting beats and patterns on the fly, because you can automate that knob with each bar or each pass. A different sample out of the samples that you loaded will play, and it creates really interesting and unique patterns, and also doesn't require too much manual work of sitting there and selecting different samples and dragging them in your arrangement view and stuff like that. So now that you know how to create your own, I'll show you what the Drum Evolution pack allows you to do, or kind of like what it comes with as a built-in one. So I'll delete this one, or actually I can't, so I'll just create a new MIDI one. And then here, I'll create a new drum rack. And here in the Drum Evolution section, so this is what it looks like when you open it. So you have your standalone samples here, which we're not gonna look at right now because we have the drum banks, which are just super easy to work with. Basically, you have 9 sections bass drum, snare drum, close hat, open hat, claps, toms, cymbals, percussion, acoustic, and percussion electronic. I think that's what it stands for. And in each one of them, you have different types. So 808, classic, deep 1, deep 2, heavy, etc. So, you know, let's do something interesting and just create like a quick rack with, I don't know, let's say like 8 different banks, and then we can go from there. Let's go with unusual bass, because why not? And for snares, let's go with synthetic, close hats, classic. And as you can see, it's loading pretty fast, considering each one has like a multiple different samples, and you can control like the pitch of the drum, the volume. There's the transients and layers that you can control separately. There's different transient types and layer types and their own level, and you can also control different panning, velocity, the slope, the drive of each individual sample. It's really cool, and it's all like built in here. You don't need to worry about mapping all of these things on your own. I personally really enjoy it. It makes it so much easier to build your own drum racks. So I honestly don't use anything else other than this. All right, let's go with open hi-hats. I don't know, let's go with metallic. Claps, let's go with deep. You can only imagine that like your possibilities here are pretty much endless. You can mix and match, and you will never get bored as far as your options here. And then let's do blocks and bells for the acoustic percussion, and let's go with various 3. I don't even know what they have there, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so now this is what we have. Cool. So let's see what we can do, what type of beat we can make with these samples. And then I'll show you how you can create different variations with some modulation. And this is gonna sound weird at first, but trust me, this is gonna get really interesting in a few minutes. So we got like a beat going, right? And I mean, it's whatever, it's fine. Nothing crazy. But after a while, it will get boring. So now comes the fun part. So with Ableton, you have what's called CV tools. And I think it's a standalone, or I think it's built in with the Live 10 suite. But if you have a regular version of Live, like Lite or Standard, then I think you can either purchase or download it separately. But check this out. So we have a LFO Max for Live device, low frequency oscillator. And you can map this to the drum sample knob, which means it will change the sample at the rate that the LFO is going. So let's start here. I'll just mute these two, and let's start with the close hat, right? So I can change the sample here, but if I map it, you see how immediately, like, how much more interesting the drum loop becomes, because it's a different sample every time. And we can lower the rate a little bit here, so it will completely, like, capture more of those sounds. Yeah, every time is a different sample. So now I can just open these, and you can map up to 8 parameters at the same time on a single LFO device. So I'm just gonna do the same thing for the rest of these, other than the kick drum, just to have some consistency, and maybe leave the snare as well. Sounds pretty wild. I mean, honestly, you can probably record like 10 minutes of these, and like people will dance to it. Or like I can just sit here and jam to something like that, because it's constantly changing. It's different all the time. I find this like fascinating and really cool. And you know, like you saw, how long did it take me to make this? Like 5 minutes? Not even. And now, you know, you can now record different bits of audio of this and then play around with that. But it's like the variation and the interesting patterns are already there for you, so you don't have to like sit and manually put each different sample like as the drum loop going. It will take you forever to make something like that, like manually, you know? I don't know, this is so cool. And now what's even more interesting, if I just turn the LFO off, whatever sample it's at the given moment, it will just stay there. So then you can potentially like loop stuff that you really like. So like, for example, if I turn this off, so now we have like the same pattern repeating with the same samples. So if you like this, you can just record a bit of audio for that. And you know, you can even map the on-off to like a MIDI controller and then use that for like a live playing situation to add like more variety and just interesting things. Like, I don't know, this is so fun. Now, if we want to go really wild, we could also do something similar, but modulate the pitch of each of the drums. And that might be a little too crazy, but you know, like let's see what happens. I'll just mute or solo some of this so we can have like a little bit more control. So yeah, let's just map this to the drum pitch. Maybe lower a little bit of the, there we go. So it's not too crazy. We'll just move it by like 3 semitones. Very subtle change, but still adds even more complexity and just interesting, and like an interesting flavor to it, you know? That sounds cool. So yeah, this was like a pretty quick one, but you know, just wanted to share like my approach and how I create most of my drums as of recently. I feel like with electronic music, it's really easy to have your track sound like boring or like just lacking that movement and that variation that an like actual drummer would provide. I feel like something like this allows you to make your drums more interesting and more alive and more unique. Every time it's going to be different. So again, you can just hit record and, you know, go watch a movie, come back, and you have like an hour long just drum samples or like drum beats that are completely different, and you can just cut those and then use those as your like individual loops, or like, you know, just put it in the background of like your actual track and like go from there. So yeah, that was it. Again, a quick tutorial, I guess. Hopefully you liked it and learned something new. If you did, and if you enjoyed the video, you know, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel to see more of this stuff. And again, I'm not affiliated with Wave Alchemy or Drumvolution. I'm just supporting a product that I enjoy and love and use on my own. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.